We are going to be starting soon. They did not bring.
Damn.
Let's just say they're not sending their best because their best played a friendly in Houston today against Real Madrid. So yeah, it was. But aside from that, look, Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. It's a brand new stadium. It's a soccer specific stadium. It's nice, and the fans loved it. There was about 34,000 people in attendance, and I think the biggest surprise for me, Joel, was the fact of how many of these people were actually rooting for Wrexham. It's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, it was bananas. Like, I underestimated the power of Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds and Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, man. I think they've done a great job of marketing their team, their ownership, and they have apparently they're like the sixth most popular soccer team in the United States, which is crazy because
Wow.
Americans don't even know. Don't they have no idea that this team's playing in the fucking fourth division of professional football in England.
That is, yeah. Yeah, that's impressive. But there's like a documentary, right?
Yeah, on Hulu and FX, you can watch Welcome to Wrexham. Season 1 is complete, and I believe season 2 will be coming out soon. So yeah, It's it's great. It's great to see Americans like casuals just like find a team and support it. I even saw some fucking Richmond FC jerseys. It's not even a real team. It's just from Ted Lasso. So like Americans, bro, don't underestimate their ability to just like adopt and embrace like soccer.
Yeah, well, we saw. I think it's Keith Del Valle, the ESPN guy from what is it? Jorge Ramos. Um, he tweeted about from Inter Miami. He's like, all these people pay all this money for Messi's debut, and they're leaving at the 80th minute. I think the player had just come on or was about to come on.
So Messi's debut, he didn't start, right? It was against Cruz Azul, and then they waited until the second half to actually play him. But in their second Leagues Cup match, Messi actually started, and I believe he was subbed out. And as soon as he got subbed out in the second half, like a lot of people just got up and left.
Oh, that's the one. That's the.
Which is
Is
like,
that what?
I don't understand why you would do that.
But they were just there to see Messi, didn't know. But weren't they 3-0 by then?
Yeah, I mean, the game was pretty much settled by then. It actually reminds me of how I used to watch streams. Like when players abroad, let's say Chicharito for me, the second he got subbed out, I honestly, a lot of the times would just turn off the stream. I'm like, all right, he's out, I'm out. It's like, I don't really care about the result. As soon as Javier is gone, I'm gone. Same thing with Raul Jimenez, like he would get subbed out during Wolves match. So I'm like, all right, I'm time to like watch something else.
Game over.
Yeah.
Game over.
But to actually
Speaking of,
to physically go and pay and then just leave, like, I don't know. I get it, you got to beat traffic home. That's what my dad would say. You got to beat traffic home. But
oh yeah,
it's fine. Honestly, yeah, don't underestimate Americans and their ability to spend money on football and soccer. Really cool vibe out there in San Diego yesterday. What I really liked about it is it reminded me of like the time I was out and backpacking in Europe, specifically in England, how like before the game, like they had a designated area for all the fans, for the Wrexham fans, like a whole like drinking area, pub vibe. They had some food trucks. I'm like, that's really cool, and they have their supporters there. The one thing that I can like, it was kind of like polarizing for me after, it's been a busy summer for Soccer Chronicle and for Cantina MX. I've been covering a lot of soccer. How quiet the game was, bro. Like they don't know any chants, dude. They don't know any songs. I'm like, come on, dude. Like neither Wrexham or Manchester United fans, like at no point of the match did they start their chants because they don't know them.
yeah. Well, I'm imagining the hardcore Man U fans. They went to the other game.
Yeah, they probably went to the game in
Like their
Houston.
main. Yeah, at least their main contingent, and whoever lived over there had to settle for the B team or the C team or.
Yeah, and shocking result. Wrexham actually beat Manchester United yesterday, 3-1. And some bad news for Wrexham fans. Their best player, superstar Mullen, he got I think he cracked one of his ribs, like literally like 5 or 10 minutes into the game. They had to pause it and they had to stretch him out, and yeah, it did not look good. They gave him oxygen and shit, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, dude, he's literally their best player.
Crashed? I mean, to crack your ribs, did he crash with someone?
The goalkeeper, man. The goalkeeper, like,
Oh, salió con el pie, with the knee up.
yeah, it was pretty bad. And oh, it looks like he actually punctured his lung. Jesus. I just
Damn, dude.
yeah, no, it was
This spikes.
it was serious, man, cuz like like usually a player will like put a hand up or get no, dude, he was on the ground for a minute, and then first like the stretcher came out, and then they sent him back, and then they actually brought out like an actual like golf cart, and he had oxygen and everything, dude. It was pretty serious.
Doesn't kill the vibe, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 38 goals last season, and it looks like he's gonna miss the start of the season. All for a meaningless friendly.
Well, not so meaningless. I mean, I need to respond for next season, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I got to see Rob Mack. I don't know his last name, but he's the guy. He's the co-owner of Wrexham. He was there. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds is in England recording the next Deadpool, so he wasn't in attendance.
Oh shit! All right.
I saw Landon Donovan, and yeah, if our listeners want to check out the photos, they're at soccerchronicle.com. Yeah, we had a kickstart to Leagues Cup, Joel, and today I got an email from like Leagues Cup, like official media release, and
Yeah.
it was it was just like all the disciplinary issues, bro. Like it was like a rap sheet of just like violence and debauchery. So it was like like, you know, when you get an email and there's bullet points, you're like, oh fuck, like something went down. So it's like New York and Mexico City have announced Leagues Cup disciplinary committee the following decisions on the first round of matches. Alan Pulido has been issued a red card for violent conduct, and he will be issued a 2-match suspension because he straight up like lost his head and headbutted somebody for no reason. Then Atlas was fined for language posted on social media following their match against New York City. The language posted violates articles, blah, 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 blah.
I saw that and I thought it was Ricardo
You thought it was
running the social media because he's brought up similar points on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Let me just clarify what happened, and then you can go on. So the match between Atlas and New York City, well fought match, 1-0 to Atlas. But towards the end of the match, New York City actually tied it up, and they celebrated the goal. But then the referee went back to VAR and disallowed it for offsides. And then everybody got a load of shit on social media. Oh, you know, they robbed this game. And the contact manager for Atlas went on Twitter and used a really just, I don't know, he was trying to quote like some Nazi to make his argument, and
propaganda and about
it just opened up the floodgates to like, you know, look, the thing about it is like when you tweet something and you just mention the word not, like, this is like social media manager 101. Do not ever use Nazi, whether it's like you're trying to make that the argument for or against. Just don't use the word Nazi, bro, because that's all people are going to take away from the conversation. That Atlas are Nazi supporters, and it was bad.
The memes were funny.
But go ahead, Joel.
Yeah. No, just they were talking about one of the Nazis that was in charge of propaganda. And it's just funny. It was funny to me because the girl had brought that dude up before in trying to make some points. But yeah, it was way off to use that. It was just dumb, you know. And it was a reply to some poster that was some guy that was tweeting, which makes it even dumber.
Whatever tomorrow. Yeah, dude. I remember that dude was like a YouTuber, and now he's like finagled his way into, I don't know, being like an influencer / like sports person. I don't know. Whatever, dude. It's not no one that's like of any value, bro. Just like just a meme, Mexican meme. But
that dude lost his job now. The account manager or whatever.
I
it's
bet he
called.
did. And you know what's funny is Atlas later that day tweeted like an apology, but then they didn't even fucking like delete the tweet. They just like left it up. I'm like, okay, so they're not really, they're not really sorry. They left that tweet up. And that's just all right. So that's just the second bullet point. Club Leon was given a warning for delaying the start of the second half of the match. And then, in accordance to articles, blah, 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 the disciplinary committee has issued a warning to the following individuals for making negative comments to media or on social media regarding the work of the tournament referees. Cruz Azul player Carlos Salcedo and Cholos Quincles de Tijuana coach Miguel Herrera, a.k.a. Piojo. Yeah, dude.
Damn.
And then
They're taking it serious, Jaime.
the disciplinary committee also received the appeals for the respective red cards received by players Nicolas Diaz and Kevin Balanta. Tijuana had 2 red cards in their match that they ended up losing. So, yeah, they tried to appeal that. And then, upon review, the disciplinary committee denied both appeals. And they will be unable to participate in the next match in the League's Cup. It's only been 3 days, dog, and we already got like fucking emails coming out like apologizing, or it's been a shit show for League's Cup. And I'm sure you haven't really watched any of it, Joel, but right now
I watched Messi's debut, Jaime.
yeah
I was almost gonna say something, but
I'm not keeping score or anything, but so far we've had, let's see, about 10 or 12 matches between Liga MX and MLS teams. In fact, there's some going on right now. Tigres, as of right now, is tied 1-1 with Portland, and I think there's another match going on. But MLS has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victories against Liga MX teams, and Liga MX just has 3, and there's been 3 ties. The most alarming is the amount of goals. MLS has scored 29 goals against Liga MX, and Liga MX only has 17.
Yeah, well, and we have to keep in mind these are all away games for the Liga MX team. And travel and whatnot. And that was always gonna tilt it in the favor of MLS.
Do you think so, though? Because, the national team is used to playing so many moleros here that I feel like some Mexicans might feel at home playing these matches in the United States.
No, I mean, that's true. But, I mean, the rival counts too. And then for them, too, to be playing at home, that's always like an advantage. Like, because that's what we have to also keep in mind. All the games have been in the U.S., as opposed to some of these teams would have traveled to Mex. And so sometimes the teams then they'll have to rest players, and which was the team that got stuck in the airport.
That was Leon. So they got stuck in the
going around.
They got stuck in the airport after their match against Vancouver. And as a result of that, they have actually rescheduled their match against LA Galaxy. So, yeah, just again, this tournament has been a disaster in my opinion. I know that there's been some decent turnout as far as attendance because of Messi. But honestly, like, the tournament, in my opinion, hasn't started until probably today. You've had some Rayados action. You've had some Tigres action right now. You got Chivas tomorrow and America. I think they also play tomorrow. So I think like the big boys, once they start playing, maybe there'll be some more attention on the tournament. But you can't kick off a tournament with fucking like no disrespect, but like, come on, man. Like, who's watching Mazatlan play? Who's watching Juarez play? No one's watching them play. In fact, their game, Mazatlan Juarez, because they are on the road, it was played in Austin, and they said that there was less than 200 people that attended the match. So that's bad, dude. That's really bad. You can't like say, hey, you're a season ticket holder for Austin. Like, here's a free Here's a free one. Go watch them.
They actually do that a lot of times, but I mean, it still costs money, you know, like
By all
parking
means,
and
Jaime.
maybe.
What's going on?
Sorry about that, Joel. I was going to tell Jaime. By all means, show the disrespect, man. Talk your shit about these guys.
Talking shit about who?
Were you saying that the Juarez is insignificant? What were you saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't draw any fans, right? Mazatlan, Juarez, like, who's gonna watch that match outside of like those respective like cities? No one,
For
really.
sure. Yeah. And that's where these bozos, they really underestimated how much no one gives a shit about these other teams. And in their head, they really thought these teams were going to come to the U.S. and all the pochos were going to fill up the stadiums. I guarantee that's what they were thinking.
Right.
No, they already know, man. Come on, you don't give them credit. They have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they have an idea. And then, as far as you guys were talking about, like being the away team, I think it does play a big influence. Because, like, for example, America arrived here in St. Louis on Monday, and honestly, like, been tracking the players through their socials, and like people that work like in the hotel. And honestly, they should go to practice, and then they stay locked up. Like, there's not really much for them to do. And if you look at the opposite end, you know, like St. Louis, they've been here since Monday when they flew back from Columbus. They're able to go back to their family, able to go back home, do their daily life. So I think as like being the away team, outside of whether you're used to playing this stadium or not, it's just annoying because also it's like a glorified friendly tournament. So I'm sure it kind of gets in your head like, what the hell are we doing here, man? Why are we flying over this country to play this friendly tournament that doesn't really mean much? So I think that has also shown on the field as well.
I don't buy that shit. That's bullshit, dude. These guys are professionals. They do this for a living. It's not the first time they've been away
Yeah,
from home.
I know, but we're not talking about like a World Cup, a Copa America, Libertadores.
Yeah,
We're
but I
talking
mean,
about some
like,
bullshit friendly tournament, dude.
look, dude, these guys are looking at this as a paid vacation, point and simple. They're gonna go out there. They understand that there's no prestige behind it. They understand that there's like only a handful of teams that are taking it serious, right? The rest of these guys, they're going shopping. They're gonna go on whatever, dude. It's a paid vacation, man. And
Well, if it's a paid vacation, doesn't that help the argument? That's why Liga MX teams are doing bad.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I don't think it's a matter of being like isolated and being uncomfortable in the United States. Like, maybe if you were in a more hostile environment, like maybe in Central America or something like that. But come on, dude, you're in the United States, bro. We're a first world country. I don't think the players are going to feel that much out of their element. I'm sure it's annoying having to be away from home for like a month, right? But these dudes, they're professionals, man. They know how to conduct themselves.
I think that's what it is. They're just annoyed being there. It's not so much that it bothers them that they're playing out all the games in the U.S. Because I'm telling you guys right now, my America source, the guy never misses. He said they're not taking this tournament serious. That you're not going to see an America team, a complete America team in these games. Baños, even before they left, they came to the U.S. He gave them a little pep talk, telling them, "Oh, don't force it. Like everyone knows, the main thing, our goal is the league. This is just a preseason cup, pretty much." And if they're saying that, what do you think the other teams are saying?
The only team that I know has publicly acknowledged and have said that they've declared that they're taking it serious is Chivas. They've had plenty of coverage, press conferences, and said that their goal is to win this. And I think they're the only team out of Mexico that's actually said it.
And you know what? To add to that, Jaime, the media has been, and for a good reason too. They've been shitting on Cruz Azul a lot. Like there's a little campaign going on against Stuka.
Interesting.
And lo and behold, today there was some info coming out about Coca being linked to the Cruz Azul job.
All right,
So
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's very suspicious.
Well, I mean, that's typically. I mean, they were doing it to Buse, right? They did it for a week or 2 weeks. They kept saying, as soon as he loses, he's gonna get sacked, and that's when he went like on a 5 game undefeated streak, and it was interesting to see all the different media just bad mouthing him. Even Pedro Bermudez, like it tripped me out. He's like, "Oh, my sources claim," and I was like, "This just sounds like they're setting the bet for this guy," and he ends up beating Pachuca, which up until that point had been a coco for Chivas, and that's when the dude steps in and he boots him out anyways, Aleaño. But yeah, I've seen that since forever, man. You have the media start with rumors or start making a mountain out of a molehill, or any little thing they make it seem worse than it is. And the fans, it gets me that the fans always like fall for it. They always will go along, and then that just adds more to the pressure.
Yeah, unfortunately, our number one Cruz Azul fan is not here tonight, but
It's,
I did watch that match. I did watch that match, and I was really frustrated with the amount of chances Cruz Azul had and just didn't have their shooting boots on. Like that match should have been like 3-0 at one point in favor of Cruz Azul, and they did what everyone expects them to do, right? Cruz Azular, and they fucking blew it. And of course, it was like set perfectly for Messi off a non-existent foul. And look, man, I'm not really a big fan of this whole thing that they're drawing out for Messi. It's Messi, right? This guy doesn't need more gas in the tank. And the defending that I've seen in that match against Atlanta United was horrible. I mean, that's atrocious, man. You should be embarrassed. Like if I was like if associated with Atlanta United, bro, I would just stop supporting them, dude, because like you cannot allow him to have that much space, bro. This is ridiculous. This is elementary, bro. It's like Messi's really, they're gonna just give him as many goals as he wants, and I'm sure they're gonna make it to the point where it's very easy for him to win these tournaments and win these titles. And it's just stop, man. It's embarrassing.
This reminds me of when Honduras was playing Brazil in the Olympics. When was it in the Rio Olympics? Like they were just awed at seeing Neymar on the same field with them, and they didn't even show up. They were just following him around the field.
Oh yeah,
Eager as full.
that reminds me of some of the players from Cruz Azul caught a lot of slack because they posted a photo of themselves holding a Messi jersey, not even the one that he wore, just like they asked for a Messi jersey and got it, or who knows, maybe they went to the fucking merch store and bought them. And I'm like, dude, like, are you guys fans or are you guys professional soccer players? Because y'all need to act like y'all fucking been here before. Like, I understand like having a role model or having someone you look up to, like, oh yeah, Messi's like one of my favorite players. But you don't act like a fucking fan, bro. Like you're also a professional soccer player. Like, I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I disagree with that. There were
no, you would.
Argentinos, man. You know Argentinos obsessed with Messi and Maradona. I'm just saying, back in the day, like if Hugo Sanchez came with Real Madrid and did a tour in the U.S., teams would go up to him, Mexicans would go up to him and ask for the jersey. It's
You got to do that behind the scenes, though, man. That's a bad luck.
Yeah, but now you have like social media and stuff, but I'm sure that shit happens all the time. It's not the first time. It's a friendly tournament. Do it after a World Cup. Yeah, I'll be pissed. Mexico, Argentina, and then you just lost, and then the Mexican players are waiting for him to ask for his jersey. Yeah, but when it's a glorified friendly tournament and the guys are asking for it, son Argentinos, it's like I'm not even really mad. Honestly, it makes sense. I'd
But
probably do the same thing with a Mexican player if I was in your position.
those guys don't know how to differentiate, though. They don't know how to them, everything's a World Cup. So they who knows? Maybe they even took it. Maybe they didn't mark on purpose so Messi would get past him a little faster.
It's just
These
like,
guys have no
yeah,
shame, man.
yeah, dude. I think, in my opinion, like the professional player has to hold themselves and conduct themselves like at that. Like, look, I know you're not gonna be as equal as Messi, but dude, like you're also a professional soccer player. Like, it should be a mutual type of respect type of thing. You know, hey, great game, like, but like to take photos and be like, yeah, look, I got his jersey. Like, bro, are you a fan or are you a player?
Both. Why not both?
And like I see it. Me and Joel, we get the privilege of going to these matches in the press box. I get to be on the pitch taking photos. And the number one rule is you do not fangirl, bro. You don't ask for autographs. You don't say, hey man, I'm a big fan. Like, dude, you're a fucking professional. Like, act like it. Like,
Dude, they
Yeah,
had
but you're
one.
outside the club though. They're inside the club. That's the difference. They're players amongst each other. Like you
Actually,
can't do that. It's like for example, like if you're a waiter at a restaurant and a celebrity comes in, you gotta be professional. You can't like ruin their dinner and stuff. But if another celebrity's there, I'm sure the other celebrity feels comfortable acknowledging the other celebrity and then doesn't find it like rude. I just don't think it's that big
no,
of a
I mean,
deal, especially
I
if they're
look.
pros.
You guys can get their jock strap after the game and put your face in it. That's fine. Just don't post it on social media. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. And then, I mean, one thing, if you want to talk about like being professional or not, that I noticed the difference between the Cruz Azul game and the Atlanta game. The Atlanta players are not going physical on Messi at all. Like in the Cruz Azul game, there's like a couple fouls on them. Like, they like respected him, but at the same time, disrespected him. And I was, with MLS being like one entity, like one business,
Oh yeah,
I was thinking, since
you gotta question everything now.
yeah, it wouldn't be so far fetched to think that the league would say, "Hey, listen, guys, it's a competition. Everybody, try to win. But hey, none of this like marking Messi one on one, slide tackling. None of them. Like we got to protect him. We can't get him injured. Type BS. And that's another thing shows you is they're asking teams to switch their turf to grass so he can play. If not, he won't.
You
And
know,
MLS is willing like to pay those costs.
it's not a far-fetched idea that there's been some sort of, I don't know, just announcement made or an unspoken rule, right? I mean, Jeff Donahue, the referee that was caught like fixing matches in the NBA, he would call fouls against like, the big guys like Michael Jordan or like Kobe, and the other referees would say, "Hey, like you can call that foul, just not against that guy." It was like an unspoken rule. Like, the fans don't want to see your favorite player get fouled out. And I'm sure in the MLS, like this dude is going to be carrying the league for, I don't know how many years, but he's now the face of the league. And I'm sure that they want to protect their investment. And what that
yeah, you
what
said it right there, Jaime.
what that means is, hey, you maybe don't go all in on Messi. If don't try and break his fucking ankles, right? But yeah,
And to add to that point, someone uploaded a picture on social media about the bracket, about how that the shitty tournament set up, the teams on both sides, and all the strong teams or teams that would pose a threat to this midget are on the other side of him. The
yeah.
team that he has to worry about the most is probably Pachuca, but even then, that team's been gutted at the
Pachuca's
beginning.
losing. They're getting gutted, right? They're losing
Yeah,
Yeah,
players.
they're got booty right now.
he's got a straight path to the final.
Qatar 2022.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though. That would make sense to me, especially if I'm like Apple.
I posted that in this like group I'm in, and all the people were like, "No, no, no, no," because the bracket was released in January, so it's just a coincidence. I'm like, "Come on, guys!
They've been in
You seriously think like
communication for a
Messi?
minute. Yeah.
You seriously think Beckham didn't know Messi was coming in January after the World Cup, after all the shit he was experiencing with PSG? I'm sure he told him, "Look, if Barca doesn't get me, I'm coming to you." And that was set. So they try to set it up the best way possible
Premeditated.
for him.
And
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's
So the way the bracket is broken up, which I don't agree with, is like West and Central on one side, East and South on the other. And one bracket is clearly more dominant than the other. Like on the East, it's pretty weak. And the South. So all the big hitters are on the West Coast or on the Central. And that's like Chivas, that's America. You know, you have some hitters. Tigres is there, Rayados is there. So I think they could have done.
LA,
Yeah.
LA Galaxy, Cincinnati, who's in first place, St. Louis, who's in first place on the West. You literally have all the top teams on one side of each other.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. And I mean, at this point, from what I've seen, yeah, for sure Messi will make the final, man. There's no way Miami doesn't go all the way.
I heard a guy on Fox Sports say that that Chivas is in the group of death.
Cincinnati and Kansas City. I mean, I don't think you can associate death with those respective clubs. I'm sorry.
No, they're not. If Chivas wins tomorrow, they're automatically in the next round.
Alan Pulido will not be in. Well, he's suspended for the next 2 matches, right? So he's going to miss the opportunity to play against his former club. And who knows? Maybe
that's why he did it, dude.
Maybe he did it on purpose. You know, he's gonna go to Chivas as a free agent, possibly, and he didn't have the heart to play against them. Who knows? He's also been kidnapped and broken out, so he has the moves, man.
There is players that have been known to do that. That, like, if they had plans, they would get red carded on purpose.
Like that Argentino, right? From in the Libertadores final, that he got sick or what was it?
Who?
Well, I wouldn't do it in a final, but I meant like just in the regular league game. Some of these players, like maybe they had something going on already, and they would make sure to get suspended.
I don't know. If you look at the play with Alan Pulido, like, he didn't even think about it. Like, once he did it, he realized he screwed up. Like, I pushed him really bad while he was on the ground. So it's just a stupid reaction.
It was a pretty violent headbutt too.
Yeah, I mean, it was like spur of the moment, and then he realized he messed up, and he stayed behind and apologized to the guy and everything. I don't think it was nothing like Chivas related. He was just pissed at the way the guy pushed him while he was down.
Yeah. Yep. I think the funniest part of Leagues Cup so far was the reaction from the Austin fans after they lost to Mazatlan. That was pure gold, man. It's like, we can't even beat the worst team in Mexico. The team played like a bunch of panochas. I'm like, what are you guys talking about, dude? Like, it's so funny, dude.
Quote, that's the actual quote.
We play like a bunch of panochas. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Who taught Chad that word?
Who taught Tommy that word?
Well, they're pochos, dude. They're straight up pochos.
Hey, you want to talk about professional and unprofessional? You see the reporter that talked to the Mazatlan coach afterwards, and he was like, not gonna lie, when we found out that we had Mazatlan in our group, we all celebrated because we knew it was an easy win, but now you guys came and won.
Oh, yeah.
Why the hell would you say that?
Yeah, dude. That's like very unprofessional.
Yeah, he got called out like in the comments, and he didn't give a damn. He started like cursing everybody out and saying that he can do whatever he wants.
Dude, there's been some out-of-pocket reporters, right? Like the one that asked like the Moroccan team, the women's team, like, "Oh, I heard you're a lesbian. Which other teammates are lesbians?" Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what kind of fucking?
Yeah, well, no, he said that they'll punish you like in it, like you could get in trouble for that. And then he's like, "Well, who?" I was like, "Damn, dude, is this like?"
Not only did he ask,
Ricardo is our resident historian on all things Nazi. Would that be the correct? Where is he? Did he leave?
I see nothing wrong.
I see nothing wrong. We had a Disco Fever, yeah, say Atlas is the new Lazio. Not a bad comparison, you know, the inferior team of the two. If you look at the, you know, Lazio and Roma are from the same city. At Chivas,
Dude, Lazio had, they had players that would, because their Yeah, they had Nazi sympathizers in one of their ultra groups or tifosi or whatever they're called. And who was it? Di Canio, who went to celebrate and he does the
Yep.
Nazi salute.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't
man. I
remember
think
the
it's a good.
player.
I like that comparison. Atlas is the new Lazio. I think that works. The ultras and the lack of titles. Yeah, I would go for it. I would agree with that sentiment.
Did they win that game?
Which one?
The Atlas. Who did they play?
Atlas played New York. They won 1-0 controversially. You know, like the whole offside call and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. But the big story again is all right, you know, MLS is winning these matches and by a lot. You know, the goal difference is, you know, pretty substantial. But I think people need to calm down and realize, like, look, a lot of these clubs aren't taking it serious. We started our league like 3 weeks ago, and then we were rudely interrupted to play this bullshit tournament. So it's like, you know, these MLS fans are celebrating, but we'll see what happens after the group stage. I think we'll have a better measure of who's actually the more dominant side.
Yeah, what's meant to create rivalry, and it's also set up to give MLS, the advantage. And I think it's working. You know, you have people going off on Cruz Azul for losing, and it's not like any team. Well, I think I didn't see the Puebla. I think is the only team that got. Who was it that lost pretty bad?
Nah, man.
No,
There's been some
right.
one-sided affairs today, actually. So Puebla lost 4-0 to Minnesota. And then we had Querétaro lose today 5-1 to Philly. And New England beat San Luis 5-1. So, yeah,
Damn, that's today.
today.
Well, there goes my talking point. Because the matches are pretty close. I mean, Cruz Azul, they're getting a lot of flack, but this is a team that, brought in Busquets and Messi, and, Cruz Azul could have won it. And as you said, Jaime, the team, Miami benefited from that non-call for
Yeah.
that last minute winner. But they make it seem like Cruz Azul just got taken to the cleaners, which just wasn't the case. They could have ruined the debut.
Yeah. As of right now, Tigres just finished their match against Portland. They won 2-1. They'll be in San Jose on Sunday. I'll be there to take photos. Hopefully they don't put their bench players out there.
And whose bright idea was it to take San Luis to what to that? What'd you say, St. Louis? No,
San Luis to
Who do they
New
play?
England.
to New. I'm sure all those Boston Mexicans were celebrating.
You'd be surprised, dude.
Yeah, dude.
They don't go that far east.
They sent out.
Oh, they started. They started. You'll be surprised. That's what I'm saying. You'll be surprised, dude. A lot immigration now has been going to the East Coast. That's when I'm not trying to get political.
What
here.
about Montreal, dude? Because that's French
No, there's a lot of
Canadian.
Mexicans.
Bro,
That,
there are Mexicans everywhere, bro.
That
I
didn't make
think
any
there's Mexicans
sense.
in Alaska, Russia. There's Mexicans everywhere.
a las carnitas.
Anywhere you look in the world, bro, there's Mexicans.
No, I know in
Not
Canada.
everywhere.
I don't know Montreal, but I know in Canada there's a lot of Mexicans that were going over there to work. Cousin of mine was in Vancouver, and that's just from small towns. A bunch of them were, they would just go over there and work for as long as they could.
Hmm.
That was one thing that was surprising to me because I'm not watching these games. I'm watching the highlights, and I seen that Pumas highlights, and it seemed like they were like the majority there. Like they were making more noise even off that little clip, and they're in Canada. Like, what's that say about your team?
Well, the Canadian, hey, they're very polite and quiet.
And the Atlas one too in New York. Like I didn't know there was more than one Atlas fan outside of Guadalajara. You know.
No, there's Atlas
Uh,
fans out here, man. Not as common, but I think after winning Bicampeonato, there's definitely been an increase. And then you had like the influencers like Canelo and Peso Pluma rep them. So yeah, they're starting to gain popularity. It's cool to be like anti Chiva now, you know? It's like to hop on the anti bandwagon, I guess. I actually had a question for you, Ricardo.
Talk to me.
Do you hate Chivas more or do you love America more? Like which one is stronger? Which feeling is stronger?
Oh, America, man. I love America way more.
Yeah. How do you feel
Yeah.
about your chances tomorrow against Habibi's team?
Oh, it is Habibi's team, huh? I hope they win 10-0, but honestly, if I'm being truthful and I stay consistent with my arguments, because that's what I pride myself on, I really don't care, man. As long as they don't get injured.
That's fair.
If they play with canteranos, I could. That's a because that's what Baño said before he sent these guys off over here.
Mhm.
He said we're trying to see what a couple of these young guys got in the tank, for this season. So if that's their plan, I honestly don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I wonder if they have like an agreement. Hey, don't like when they agree to do this tournament, like don't just use your bench. But who knows?
no, that's hard. That's hard to make that agreement.
Only with the Mexican national team do they do that. You got to send all the Mexico All Stars, and they send their B and C and D teams,
No,
right?
but let's not confuse CONCACAF. Wait,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen because look at all the teams. Everyone's pretty much playing their starters. So I think America's gonna come out with their usual starters.
Diego Valdez isn't gonna play.
Joel fell down the stairs or what, dude?
no, I think to get some sugar. I
Damn, bro.
can drink my coffee.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude. I should have muted my.
yeah, dude. Put yourself on mute when you're making these loud ass noises.
You need some WD-40, my guy. Hey, did you guys talk about how they were praising this tournament to the moon? They were saying that they made it seem like they had everything in order, right? And then they had the Lecota and the Leon players stranded in where was it, in Ohio? Where were they playing? In the airport?
Montreal, I think, or Vancouver.
Who takes care of that though?
But shouldn't they? If it's in the U.S., shouldn't MLS take care of that?
I don't think so, man.
I mean, this is their territory, right?
No, I mean you compete. I think it's you pay for it. Like you have to pay for your own travel and lodging.
All right. Well, if they do that, then they can't say this is the next big thing. Then you got to say what it is. It's another shitty Concacaf turn, Copa de Chocolate que vale madre. All right.
Ouch.
Like, you have to you can't lie to the people and tell them it's the next big thing. It's when honestly it's just the MLS knockoff Libertadores for them. That's what it is. They're benefiting playing against these Mexican teams because I told you guys in that chat, man. I'm a phone call away. I'm gonna call up my Theo. I'm gonna get that guy a tryout because these teams suck at defending. I don't know who the hell taught these guys how to defend.
It's pretty bad out there, man. Yeah. I look at it. I'm like, how is this a professional league, dude? This is like little league defending. At least like the fucking Messi highlights. I'm like, this is embarrassing, dude. Like you can put a traffic cone out there and probably do a more effective job.
And Habibi, I mentioned to Habibi earlier about that guy he was talking up from. You remember when he was saying about the MLS produces all these superstar young players
That's a lie. I never said that. I said they gave
All right,
young players a chance.
all right, I'm exaggerating. All right.
Cuando no.
Yeah. But man, these pochos no tienen nada. I seen that kid play. Like he's like defense. He's allergic to playing defense. He's horrible. I don't know who. Like, man, I really should have taken care of my knees, man. Maybe I could have gone pro if this bum went pro, man. Like, I don't know. Like Mexico, I don't see. Like, I get everyone's argument. Everyone's gonna stuff their pockets full of cash, and they're gonna be all happy. But once the Gold Cup comes around and you see Mexico struggling again, you just got to reflect back to this tournament and the rest of these games they're playing, and you got to put 2 and 2 together and see that it, sporting wise, it just doesn't add. You're not benefiting from it.
So you play your youth. That could benefit.
Another
It
thing
is.
I'm thinking, like Liga MX, what they're setting themselves up for. You're literally like taking your best hoes and rotating them around the block and showing them off to the MLS so they can buy them off you. So if your players
Yeah.
like the stadiums, if they like the country, if they like the cities that they visited, and now these MLS teams are willing to offer them, similar pay, more pay, and promise like U.S. citizenship, residency, all those things. It's like, where do you guys even win on the long term? Like, there's some player that they want from one of your top teams that they seek come out. Like, Dynamo Santos. I think that young kid, he scored like 2 goals. There's no saying Dynamo might not make him an offer now. MLS might try to come and buy him off from you. You're literally just showing off your product, bringing them to their backyard and saying, pick who you want. Like,
Yeah.
Liga MX is completely bending over for MLS on every possible face of this situation.
Yeah, and it gets worse with what the Federation announced yesterday, the 12 pillars that they're planning to roll out. And it's all, again, some more work here in the United States. They mentioned that like they're just going to have training camps here in the States instead of building it out in Mexico, cuz they want to invest their money in just like the talent and the instead of the infrastructure. So they're gonna have like, I guess, like a base out here in the States.
You
Yeah,
said 2 bases.
yeah, 2 bases, and that's just like starting out, right? They're probably gonna have more. They mentioned that they're gonna try and get at least four players per club. 4 players per year per club to get exported to international football, like, maybe to Europe, and that they're going to try and give out scholarships to encourage more Mexican coaches to get licensed by Endit, UEFA licensing. And yeah, they announced all these changes. And there was one that like, we're going to invest in technologies, medicine, nutrition, and mental health. I'm like, dude, what the fuck have you guys been doing for the last 30 fucking years, bro? Like, some of the shit you guys are announcing are like the bare minimum essentials that you expect the Federation to have. And like, you're going to wait until now to like do this? Like, what is wrong with y'all? What have you guys been doing with all this money?
Well, that's what he said, man. He said that he arrived and he realized there's no actual project in place. It's just the coach shows up and they give him a magic wand. But there's actually
No,
nothing
not just
in place.
coach. It's whoever they rotate. They keep rotating the people in charge of the whole federación. So they'll have a group. They'll have a group there.
Like basically who chooses the coach and stuff, but there's no project set in place that it doesn't matter who's the coach.
Well, I mean, they
not
do set
making
up
the decisions.
they do set up the projects, but then when the new people come in, they tear them down and they build their own.
Yeah, but
Because
that's
there's
like,
money. Because there's
that's
money
not
in
an
that.
actual project though. That's just like going
But
on.
it is a
the whim.
project.
What he's saying
No,
is like
they're
a
actual
project
projects.
that doesn't matter who's in charge, who comes in, who comes out. The project is the same, and the focus is 2030, and that's what.
Well,
he's
yeah, but
trying to set
that's
up.
why they're trying to implement the committee. because then the committee would stay in place. And if someone left, it wouldn't be like they're all leaving,
That committee's
right?
a
So there's
bunch of bullshit. They said that they're gonna be. It says experts. You know, World Cup coaches, ex-national team players, and like specialists in sports science and international figures. Like, what is this bullshit committee, dog? Like, I don't know, dude. It's a load of smoke.
well, let me tell you, like one thing they had when Nestor was in the FMF, and they gathered a lot of the top youth coaches from the different teams from Pachuca, Pumas, Chivas, Atlas, and they would meet monthly, and they would like say which players they saw should get called up. I mean, I think that was something really good to have there. And of course, when he left, they basically just stopped doing that.
One thing I think a lot of what he, that bald guy, they call him La Bomba. I think a lot of what he said is bullshit. But one thing, if he does pull off that that I would think would be really beneficial would be when he mentioned about playing the South American teams instead of French guinea pig against the Bermuda Triangle, against Barbados, against these third world
Hmm.
you can't even call them football countries. They're just someone put a flag and called it a country. But if he pulls that off and you get Mexico playing like I doubt they get someone like Flamengo or a Fluminense or one of those big Brazilian teams, or he mentioned Brazilian and Argentine teams specifically. I think that would be way better than them actually playing these bum Central Americans or these made up countries that don't like, or Suriname. Like, what is that? Like, is that even real? They probably just made that up, and I think they'd benefit from playing those teams, and I think they've done it before, right, Joel? In '98, they played teams.
98.
They played. Who did they play? Colo Colo or
Wait, what? Who played Colo Colo?
the national team, the Mexican national team?
I don't remember them playing a club team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
The
they
one
did. They played.
the one time I remember, I don't really remember that I've heard of Atletico de Madrid, and they lost. They played at the Estadio Azteca. I don't know if Luis Garcia was playing with Atletico Madrid at the time, but that's the one game I remember that the selección playing a club. From recent times, no, dude, I don't.
From recent times, no, they've been playing
Well,
strictly
98 was
CONCACAF.
at least 98 though. Going back, unless it was like before the World Cup, and some of these games weren't even televised. Because
Yeah, yeah.
I remember not La Volpe, La Puente he had a bunch of games, and a lot of them I don't think were televised. They were just like behind closed doors. So yeah, like that they probably have. Um, but I mean that would be interesting though. They play club teams, except that.
Good club teams, not Comunicaciones or these other bums.
But the good club teams, won't they be without their best players because they're all getting called up for it's FIFA friendly.
No, he said on non-FIFA. He said he's trying to get the play these games on non-FIFA dates. So because Mexico plays like 1,000,000 boleros, right? I'm sure they could try to squeeze them in one of them.
That would be that would be good, dude. I actually agree because better than like when they'll play like some teams and then the team sounds like they're under 23.
We have Vic. He said Daniel Pasarela brought up nutrition argument for the league back in the day when he was Rayados
He
coach.
did.
The
I
Nopaleros
remember
and the
that
media
comment.
laughed at him.
They got mad, dude. Actually, they were pissed off. I actually agree with him because he said the players needed to bulk up more, man. It's like they need to eat more pasta and more beef. And yeah, they were mad. But then like a few years later, they get caught eating tacos de clumbeterol.
Oh yeah.
So I guess they did take it a bit. Someone must have taken it a bit too serious. I do think that was kind of is lacking to an extent, where you don't really see the players get all like super jacked up or like stronger.
Or just in shape in general.
I think they're in good shape, just not in that type of shape.
I think they're asking too much to make these guys quit eating those taquitos, man. They're good. Those are there to stay.
I remember in the under 17 World Cup when it was hosted in Mexico, every team found Clen in their system except for Mexico because Mexico went on a seafood diet for the entire tournament. I thought that was crazy. We have a Mazatlan fan who's been tweeting at us Game Off. Shout out to Game Off. He said that the runt of the litter, Mazatlan is supposed to be the runt of the litter. We are the only ones winning. And show some pride, Liga MX. So he's obviously happy about Mazatlan's performance in League's Cup. I don't think anyone had ever expected them to get out of the group, but good for them. And appreciate Game Off to support us.
They get all the credit in the world for making those pochos cry about them.
Hell yeah,
against them.
dude. That Austin
They're okay
breakdown
in my
was
book.
yeah. That Austin meltdown is that's one of the greatest videos. Those are just some funny ass comments, man. Yeah.
Reminds you of those Arsenal fan videos where they break down after each loss.
Yeah. Arsenal fan
Yeah.
TV, man. I used to love that shit.
Yeah,
And
for these
now that you
dudes.
mentioned that, I wanted to comment on something Jaime said earlier about the soulless, identityless USA soccer fan.
Oh, it's rough, dog.
Like,
No, but he is talking about non-soccer fan. He was talking about casuals.
USA fan casual, I mean, it's the same. You can't really tell the difference. But these guys, they're I think what these guys love is the story of like these European teams, of the little guy coming up, making it all the way to first division,
Yeah.
like that Wrexham thing,
The
and they're
underdog.
shit out of luck because they got MLS going on. So as long as that's going on, that's where the MLS's problem is always going to be. Those guys are looking to Europe while they're trying to grow, while MLS is trying to attract them. And they're both, two people are looking at two different directions. They're never going to be on the same page.
Yeah, that's been a problem. That has been a problem since the league started. Because they came on right when, so it was about 96. And then you just had around that time, well, what became popular was the mini dish, right? And then you started seeing like Fox, was it Fox Sports Americas, which went on to become Fox Sports. I don't know what was it Fox Sports World? In any case, around that time, now you had these stations showing soccer from all over the world. So it was kind of like bad timing and bad luck for the league here, where all of a sudden you have these top tier leagues and people are obviously were going to compare, you know, they were going to compare it to what they're watching, and that's pretty harsh, dude. You didn't really have that going on for other leagues when they were starting, especially from like smaller non-traditional football countries. So that makes it pretty brutal there. And
Well, I wouldn't call
you
it
did
brutal.
what I
I mean,
saw, but well, just really quick, one thing we started seeing, at least and especially because you had the internet too now, right? So it made it really easy to follow those leagues. And then at around that time was like when the Champions League got like rebooted with their fancy song and all that. So all of that shit's going on. And MLS is just getting started. So yeah, obviously it looks very Mickey Mouse. And and now because if you not only that you have that access through TV, the internet at that point, started blowing up. So that made it easier to follow those teams, online, and I think that did hurt them. And so when I was like, I will go check out like sites or whatever. You did have they used to call him the Euro snob, where it was like everything Europe's better. Which is you kind of see it with the Mexicans now as well.
That's that
The-
first gen Mexican Americans that have an identity crisis and can't say anything in Spanish. They're no sabo kids, the lost generation.
But Jaime, they also grew up, being able to choose. Like when I started watching football, basically only thing you had on free TV was Channel 34.
Was it in black and
And that was
white?
Liga. Not that far back. You had Liga MX, and then Telemundo later started bringing in some games. Um, but I didn't have like an option of like, I'm gonna go and watch these leagues or whatever. Especially not live. Like that Fox Sports had come on, but the timing was all, you know, their timing was all over the place. I can't really remember what time they would show games.
Dude, just to give you an idea of what I experienced yesterday, this is the American fan we're talking about. I wouldn't hear any cheers or any screams. The only time I would hear like a fan scream out is when the goalkeeper had a goal kick. Be like, shoot it, yeah. I'm like, does this guy know the rules? Like how this works, dude? Like this good. They would cheer after every goal kick. I'm like, bro, who brought these fans here, man? This is something else. I'll tell you that right now, dude.
They love the storylines. That's what they love.
They
They
do.
love But these guys are the geeks late to the party. All the beers run out. All the hot girls they've been taken. They're just there. No, and they're just late. And that's what it is. They're just late to the party.
hey, you gotta be careful, man, because the geeks become the CEOs many of the times.
Yeah, and they changed Twitter to X. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to watch out.
No, but what I mean by that, I saw a video of like Argentinos complain about MLS. Like, where's the passion? Like these chants, what is it? This team should score like a last minute goal. You guys should be going crazy. Or it's just doing generic claps. And like even the Argentinos are like, Messi, what have you done? Join his like plastic league. But you also have to remember though that here is entertainment. And you know where you can see that goal that Messi scored against Atlanta United, his second one, like he turns to Beckham and he does like some like little hand gesture. He realizes himself that MLS is more show entertainment than its actual competition. And that's another thing you guys have to realize. Yeah, they're geeky, they're nerdy. They have it's like American sports, man. Like you got like the Vikings, the Packers. They put cheese heads on their head. It's like geeky, it's corny, but it's just what American sports are. American sports is more about the entertainment than the actual like competition. And one thing that pissed me off was like Liga MX, their Twitter account, they share like the Inter Miami fan base, like their porra with like the drums and like everything like geeked out. And they're like, "Oh, look at Miami's fan," and I'm like, "Why are you guys sharing that? You don't even allow your own league fans to do that." Like you like got rid of the porras, but at the same time, the reason they got rid of the porras is because they were being violent. And while here's entertainment, here you could go to a supporter section and take your 5-year-old, and it's just like a good casual fun, and everybody goes home. It's like Bill said, don't care about losing. Like they don't want to lose, but they don't care about losing. So I think like if you guys are gonna judge the league, keep in mind that also it's just casual fun. That's all it is, and they know it is casual fun.
Here's my counter argument to that. Number one, I have seen American Passion. It's in the NFL, and that is like Americans love football, like American football. It's something that goes back very, very long, you know. And I think that's the problem.
100 years.
That's the
And
problem.
that's
Is
that's why this is corny because it doesn't go back 100 years.
this
You
is
got teams
yeah,
coming into the
exactly.
league next year.
But like I know they are capable of bringing that type of level of intensity and passion into like soccer. It can be done. The problem is nobody gives a fuck about it because unlike the NFL, this is not the creme of the creme. The best players, the best athletes, the most talented people are in Europe. They're not in the United States. And that is why Americans, it's a chore for them to get into their local team because they're not looking at they're not watching, like you mentioned, entertainment. This is fucking like a joke of a league. And they're trying to bring, you know, talent out here, but it will never become what it is in Europe. And they know that. And I think that's the problem. And that's where you lose the passion. That's where you lose the level of authenticity and creativity. It's just like they're trying to force something that isn't. And I think over time, I would say maybe 30, 50 years from now, all right, we might see something. Like, you know, you look at these teams established in 2020, established in 2021. It's like it's a joke right now. But, you know, 100 years from now, who knows? Who knows what the sport will be? But
I agree with you, Jaime, but I wouldn't call it a complete joke. And I'll probably put the timeline at like 20 years. I mean, because look at LAFC, they have a pretty passionate following. So I don't think, you
Yeah,
know.
but even LAFC, it's like plastic as well. It's plastic in the sense that all of a sudden they're diehard fans. What from 3-4 years ago? It's like it's being forced, and like the whole answer, yeah, it's corny, it's plastic, but it's like you said it with the NFL. It's 100 years ago. You know why the NFL is so crazy? Not just because they have the world top talent. You have college basketball, even college, not basketball, college football. Like you have schools like LSU, Auburn, like they're institutions that have been around for 100 years. So it's like cemented in the culture. So it's the same thing with soccer. You can't say, "Oh, well, it's because they won Europe because they won the best thing." Well, in that case, how come Mexican fans are passionate? How come America Chivas fans are passionate? If you could use the same argument, well, then no one cares about Chivas or America because they rather watch Europe. No, they want their team because it's in their culture. It's part of their family. Their grandpa, their great grandpa was a fan, and it just gets passed down.
yeah, but that
Yeah.
must is less than 30 years old, dude. Or it's
No,
like
and that's my point. That's why it's so plastic and so casual and comes off as a joke. But it's
I
nothing that
don't
it's
think it's because of that how long. It's more in my opinion, it's more that because they have to compete with established leagues like NBA, NFL, Major League
but that
Baseball,
is the
and
point. That
hockey,
is the
and
time. How
that.
are you going to compete with an established league if you're not established yourself?
Well, I mean, but they
You know
have
why
been
they can't
getting
compete?
If my
established.
kid becomes a St. Louis City fan, he's gonna be the first person in my family timeline who's gonna be an MLS fan, and that's where it starts. And then his kids and his grandkids, like that's where it starts, where it becomes rooted into the family, into the culture, and where it actually becomes passion. Because if you go right now to every single MLS stadium, and you also go to the USA games, they all have the same chants, and they just change the words to benefit their team. So even LAFC, they all do like the vamos, 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 and every single team does that chant, but they just sub in their thing. Same thing with the USA team. Everyone has the same chant. It's all plastic. It's all fake. But the reason it is is because it's not organic. So you give it 50, 60 years to become organic, it will be.
But you
I
know
don't think
how
you
the
need that
NFL got
long.
organic? You know, you just said it, Habibi. You just nailed it on the head. You said about about the NFL, how they got college sports, right? Why do you think the NFL is so big? Because they got college sports to complement it. They the people that watch NFL, most of them are football fans, and a lot of them went to those schools of those
Wait
certain
a minute. Wait a
schools.
minute. You said something here very philosophical. People that watch NFL are football fans.
Yep.
Okay.
No, because there's a difference between college football and NFL. Joel.
I know, but it's still football. But I mean,
No.
it just sounded funny to me, dude.
No,
Because there's
I
people
get it.
that
I
are
get it.
basketball fans, but they're not NBA fans because it's all entertainment. It's all slam dunks. And there's people that like watching college basketball because it's like basics. It's like, there's actually like strategies, not just passing to this guy and have him dunk.
I was just messing with him. I don't mean to derail. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, Habibi, don't make sense out of it, man. Come on.
I'm not.
No,
I'm saying I agree with you guys. I was just fucking.
no, I get what Habibi's saying
Dale
too. But
mamón.
How's it going? Let me jump in here. You know what? There's a difference between the college football fan and the NFL fan. The college football fan is a diehard. It's like every game it's do or die. Like you see these kids crying, and the NFL, there's some diehards, but everybody goes for the good time. Paint your face and have some beers. But it's totally two different crowds. I know a lot of people that say they don't like the NFL. They like they would say that the college football was still pure, which really wasn't because these kids were getting money under the table. But they just like that different vibe of like college football town stuff.
But what I was trying to get to is, all right, let's go with that. Why does people like college football? Because it's relatable. They went to the schools, right?
Well, it's that organic aspect that you mentioned.
Yeah, but what's organic about MLS? Like, how can a
Then
USA
you could go
fan?
watch it. It's in your hometown.
Okay, aside from that, how can you relate to a MLS team
But
full of
that's what I'm
foreigners?
saying, man. I don't see how this is so complicated. It's not
You
organic.
need USA players from the league. You need USA stars playing for the MLS teams. That's how you can relate. And the MLS doesn't know what it wants to be. They're
That's why they want to bring
team.
Pulisic after the World Cup, because they know they need that big like when they had Landon, they need that big American player.
No, I agree, but I mean, I just think at the end of the day, the answer just needs time. Like, you literally have a new team coming into the league next year. Like, these are teams that are built. They have no culture. They have no identity. It's just being made up on the spot, and they're doing copy and paste from everyone else.
Joel, do you remember when the Galaxy barely got Beckham and they went all Hollywood? They would have DJs during the game that would distract the fans and everything.
I actually didn't go to those games, but I noticed it for the Gold Cup final. And I'd been to a few Gold Cup. It was the first time I remember where they needed a DJ hyping up the crowd, and I was getting annoyed, man. I was like, I don't need some influencers here to butter my ass and make me feel good. I was like, I know what's at stake.
And that goes with the plastic aspect you were talking about. It turns off the regular soccer fans, but then again, you need those casuals that let's go. It's a great party to grow the game. So I mean, eventually, like it was said here, eventually in a couple 20, 25 years, there's going to be some sort of growth. But I mean, till then, those party atmospheres.
I already see the growth. I see the growth. I mean, I started at least keeping track since the league started. So that's going all the way back to '96. I have seen the growth. I still think it still has some time to go, but I mean, it's been there. LA went from just one team to having two, and And now, like California, what it has like 3, and they might have 4 with Sacramento.
And Houston
I
has
mean-
one and no one goes.
No,
I mean, it just
California already has 5 with has 4 with San Diego.
That's right.
San Diego's the Jose, the 2 LA ones, and possibly the Sacramento. So that would be 5.
yeah. So I mean, it's gonna take a long time, and I think they could have. It's gonna take longer to maybe have those type of rivalry games between like California teams or whatever. But I think they've been focusing on establishing a rivalry with Liga MX teams, and my friends here they just hate it, man. They don't want the rivals. They don't.
That rivalry just seems so shoehorned in. Nobody cares, honestly. Honestly, you care when you see the teams in the Conca Champions. That's where
I
the
think
rivalry should be.
It's it's like in school when they'll force kids to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know
Come
if
on,
you guys
guys.
ever saw that. They'll dijo que eres puto. And that's probably not even true, but all of a sudden, you got 2 people that weren't mad at each other now fighting. And so it's kind of like that, it's they try
Like
to build. Well,
they're
you
trying to
know,
make some.
but
On
you know, what's-
TUDN, I saw an analyst get riled up. So, no, es importante ver cuál es la mejor liga. And then Russo told them, ¿por qué? ¿Qué tienen que probar? It's
well, we've seen they did the same, and it did work. People can't deny it. They could deny it, but I mean, you can see the comments, you can see how obvious it is. Like you saw when when they started having all the amistosos between U.S. and Mex, and they were like trying to promote it like Guerra Fria and whatnot.
yeah.
And they were calling it a rivalry even before there was much, But the more games you're playing, you're bound to play meaningful games, and then now it's a rivalry, and you can't deny it. You ultimately, like as a Mexico fan, you ended up seeing U.S. eliminate Mex from a Copa America, eliminated at the World Cup, and whatnot. So that at that point, it's like, how can you not consider them rivals?
Yeah,
And so
how can you not hate them?
And I think, that's kind of what they're doing here. And when you see some of the results like now, where these Mexicans are getting their ass handed to them 4-0, 5-1 or whatever, then at that point it's sort of like you can't have your bragging rights anymore when you're coming home with,
When you're
your
getting your ass
on
kicked
the
every other game. When you're not even losing on the score, this is on the field. You're getting wiped out tactically and physically.
But at the same time, you guys have to admit, like if they want to try to promote this crap, it has to be back and forth, man. They have to do
Exactly,
a home
yes,
and away
yes.
game. Imagine the Lakers just playing the entire playoffs, playing at home just because they sell more and the money's there. No, man, it has to be back and forth if people want to take it serious. People see through that.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with especially when you see when you see fucking teams getting fucking they look tired because of the travel and always having to face the have the adversity that comes with playing away. It's a bullshit tournament. Honestly, it's a bullshit tournament, but
I mean, I agree, but it serves its purpose. And I think it'll get there. This is just like its launching point.
honestly, I don't think it should be the whole it shouldn't be the whole every team in the league. It should be just they should do it top 10 teams or shit like that because come on, look at that. There's no interest for Juarez or Mazatlan or fucking or I don't know, maybe Cincinnati. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cincinnati maybe at home, but they should just make it have some sort of qualification process. That's one of the knocks I was hearing from Siboldi that that it's a tournament where everybody plays in. There's no prestige in that.
Yes, with all these comments on someone's coming up to compare Libertadores.
Yeah. And then I hear MLS teams saying, "Oh, those Peruvian teams, they know that." But yeah, fucking go play in fucking Lima against fucking what is it, Sporting Cristal or Deportivo
Yeah.
Lima? Fucking yeah, it's fucking very different.
Cienciano.
Yeah, go
Chiva-
fucking play over there. Go play in fucking Cusco.
I was about to say Chivas fans sure do know all the Peruvian teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
And then the Argentine teams, you know, at one point Chivas was called the Mata Argentinos.
That's true. Vélez, no la pelan. Boca, no la pela. River, no la pela. Hasta pinche Sao Paulo de Brasil no la pela.
What about those pesky Brazilians in that certain team called Internacional?
Hey, that ref, man. That ref. You
Hey, what was the name of that Argentine they had on their team with the Mohawk? Fuck, what's the fucker's name?
Oh,
it
the
was-
short
Alessandro?
guy, De Alessandro.
No, it
Andres
was
Alessandro?
it was a Contención.
Another one?
He looked like Vidal. He was fucking an animal. Oh, I forgot it. In that final, I forgot his fucking name.
It's not De Alessandro.
Uruguayo, right?
I think maybe Uruguayo. You know why I remember? Because Medio Tiempo, you know how Cucho would do the cartoons? He had a picture of that guy taking a dump in the over the Omni Life. So I forgot the fucking name.
I love to hear and see things
Oh,
like that.
shit.
That's natural, man. That's what separates the Libertadores. Or when America has that wheelbarrow and they're trying to wheelbarrow those Brazilians back in the day. Like talking shit. Like this is natural things that happen in football, man. MLS.
Well, the wheelbarrow was the fans threw a wheelbarrow into the field.
yeah.
Like they were doing construction at the Azteca, and
What?
somehow they. How did you guys leave a wheelbarrow there? They
It's
lost
still
two.
there. Someone posted a photo like 2 years ago. It's still there, man.
They lost to Sao Caetano, who I think doesn't exist anymore.
Was it a Copa Libertadores when Bofo was fucking was warming up during the home team's national anthem?
Yes, it was because they like
That's
cut ours.
2010.
They like cut ours off.
I heard this. Well, this was through Bofo, and he was in one of the. I think it was a Moncho Morales podcast. It was either that one. But he was talking about the Boca game, and he said after they, you know how he gets attacked, and he goes into the dressing room. Some people had got him back there, and they were barricaded in the dressing room, and they were trying to knock the door down.
Damn.
Huh.
I was like, shit. That sounds like a scary movie now.
See, that's the type of passion you won't see here. You won't see a guy like
You want the
Reynoso
player to-
blowing snot on someone.
The player's life to be in danger.
Yeah, man. You ask the owners if they want to see that. They're gonna say, hell no. They're gonna say you're crazy. It's entertainment here. It's like you said, NFL, man. It's entertainment. People want to go out, drink some beers, have a good time, and they'll be mad if they lose, but it's not the end of the world. Why? Because there's no relegation. They know every year they'll have another chance to win it again. It's just fun, entertainment. It's casual. That's why I also think the criticism you also have to keep in mind. It doesn't even apply to them because it's a complete different product than the other leagues in the world. The other leagues in the world are actual competition. Well, maybe Liga MX not so much because Liga MX doesn't have relegation either. But other leagues,
relegation in
you
Mexico.
lose. It's a big deal. It's I can't remember.
But there was a joke for years in Mexico, the relegation. It's not like it was ever a serious thing with.
Is it, man? I can't remember.
It was the
who
same. It was the same teams recycled. There was Puebla would go down, and they would buy. And they would buy off the Liga, the expansion,
whoever won it.
Yeah.
Remember when there was two Veracruz? Veracruz got relegated, and then they bought a team, but then there was another. There was two Veracruzes playing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Then you had the same shit teams moving up and down. You always had for the last 5 years of that, it always seemed there was Dorados or San Luis, one of those fucking teams.
Or Veracruz.
Yeah, it was always one of the fucking teams coming and going. I honestly, everybody was talking about how cool the promotion battle in the Premier was this because a team that started from the amateur rose up. But in Mexico, you never had that. You always had fucking Dorados coming up and down. It wasn't exciting.
Yeah, it was the same teams. I don't know where the Habibis, got that notion that it was pretty legit. It
I never
hasn't
said it
really
was
been.
legit. I said that right now. It's
But
just
to have
entertainment.
that,
You're not really that worried. Like you want to
but
win, but is your
I
team
know,
gonna get relegated?
but it's
Did you
been
guys
years.
finish
But
18th place 4 years in a row without
but look
any
at
actual issues?
but see, that's what happened when they did the whole tabla de porcentaje. At that point, you knew they weren't taking it serious, where they were like,
No, they were
okay,
protecting
we need
Chivas
to
and
find a
America.
way to protect the bigger teams, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what it was. And
Over
at
a
that point,
fucking
it was like you could finish last, and well, you got 3 more tourneys to get it together.
Wait, but I still don't know where you guys are like bringing that up because I said that MLS doesn't have any pressure because there's no relegation, and then same thing with Liga MX. There's no relegation. Now, if the relegation that was back then wasn't like legitimate, it still proves the same point. It's not. It's more like entertainment and keeping the top flight, taken care of. But like it's Reggie Canyon plays or played for the U.S. national team, and he said the Portuguese league is more difficult than MLS. And MLS heads went crazy. They said he's stupid, that he's crazy, and his reason for it, he said, was relegation. He said down there, like we lose. It's not which is we lost. This could be our financial future. We go down to second division. There's a whole lot of things that play. There's a lot of pressure you deal with in week in, week out, and you just don't have that pressure here.
But that financial risk doesn't fit into the American sports models, and that's what they saw in Liga MX. It's hard to bring in money when especially for the mid-table teams and down. It's hard to bring in money when there's a fucking risk that the team could lose 75% of their value over fucking a bad season.
And I'm not saying there needs to be relegation MLS. I was saying, like you said, that's the kind of passion they need here. I'm like, you're never gonna have that passion here because it's an entertainment product. It's not an actual pressure thing. That passion is born out of pressure. Like when River Plate went down to second division, that's where that passion and that anger and that violence comes from. Because there's actual like consequences. There's financial consequences. There's consequences as a fan. Here, there's no real consequences. It's like WWE, man. Like it doesn't matter who wins, who loses, who's the champion. It's just entertainment at the end of the day. There's competition, but not the real level competition that you get in other leagues. So that's why I am critical of MLS. I think MLS is plastic. I think it's an entertainment product. But at the same time, I don't criticize it that much because I know what it is. I'm not going to criticize it for what I know it's not.
Yeah.
You need to tell that to the NA guys because those guys are in love with. If they had it their way, they'd get rid of all of Liga MX and just buy an MLS team and start showing that.
Well, remember, I don't know if you remember when they wanted to do that Super League in Europe. Well, these fuckers, what they wanted to do was pretty much just take the like 10 teams from the Liga MX, the top 4, the Norteños, and maybe TJ, some of the border teams, and just fucking fuse them to the MLS. But then they saw that the Super League in Europe got shit, and they just they quietly moved away from that, and that's why we have the fucking League's Cup as a replacement.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If they were trying to build out this tournament to introduce fans to a potential Super League between Mexico and United States, I think they have failed miserably. But this is the first. Come on, dude. This is a fucking joke, man.
Miserably failed miserably. I don't know, man.
We'll see how it plays out in the knockout stages. We'll see how it plays out. But as of right now, there's a lot of things.
We're gonna see it. Is this gonna be at final? Like if it's Inter Miami versus Chivas, you wouldn't be hyped.
Yeah, but that's
Look,
the thing. It's entertainment. What
But
fans care about
it's
Joel,
is
not even entertainment. No
competition.
one's watching this shit, dude, because it's a
No,
fucking
what?
poor
No, what I
product.
want to watch
Joel,
Chivas, Miami,
Yeah.
Chivas versus Messi. Yeah, it's entertaining, but at the
remember?
end of the day,
Yeah.
to me, it's like going to the movies on the weekend. The real
If
work is Monday through Friday, which is the league.
there's
So
two
that's why
things. All
I
right,
said the first 3 games were like preseason for me.
there's two things that they need to change with this Leagues Cup to create that sort of competition and level of intensity. Number one, it needs to be a knockout phase tournament.
Exactly.
Number
Yes.
two, there needs to be a home and away match. You cannot host this in the United States and expect us to give a fuck. It needs to be like how it is in Champions League. Like, make it a hostile environment. Make fucking Montreal go to Puebla and try to play
Yeah.
there, or make Missouri, the fucking St. Louis team, go to Azteca and play in, you know,
Or go to Toluca.
that's what I'm saying. It's like
But
that's
here's
how
your
you make it.
problem. You just said it yourself. Make it like Champions League. What is CONCACAF going to say? You guys literally just created Champions League just for you 2 countries and left everyone else out.
Exactly. Yeah. No room for the for Trinidad for
It's
Trinidad and
basically
Tobago
created
for
a
Haiti.
super Champions League and no one else can participate. I don't think CONCACAF would say yeah to that.
Well, I mean, when you look at the FA Cup, right? That is an invitation to every league in England. It's not just the first division; it's all the way down to the fifth and even farther. And it also includes Wales. And I believe so. It's like this is not like a Champions League. This is more of like a kind of like a FA Cup situation or a US Open Cup situation between Mexico, Canada, and the United States.
This is no the tournament.
I can't hear you, Joel. You sound like a frog right now.
Can you hear me now?
Did anybody see that? Remember the first try they had at this, the Superliga?
Yeah.
The only game I remember, and I worked some of those games, but the only game I remember is that big final between Pachuca and Galaxy. That was pretty. The rest of the fucking tournament, I don't fucking remember one bit.
I remember Chivas won their first 2 group stage matches, and then they lost to Atlante or some shit.
Yeah, well, it was funny because the tournament had a funky tie-breaking system that like a baseball. So if Chivas would have lost like 9-0, they would have passed. They would have qualified. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, it was a weird rule that eliminated them, and I was like, "Fuck this tournament! Like, who gives a fuck about this shit?" But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes with the elimination bracket right now in the round robin. Leaves a lot to be desired. We'll see.
It's just the games are just some of those games are just unbearable. It's like
Yeah.
what the hell? You're like, and you look, and then you look, you think about the word what Mikel Arriola said, and the guy just comes out as a buffoon. I mean, nos van a ver en 100 países. I'm pretty sure nobody, even in fucking Mazatlan, watched that fucking Mazatlan Juarez.
I will say the only thing I'll give credit to is the fact that you can watch every single game on one platform. I think that's kind of nice to be able to log into your Apple account and you have all the highlights. You have a day every day. There's a recap.
Yeah.
That's nice. I do appreciate that. And each team has like their little like you know, a little short 5-minute clip about the team and like where their head's at. Like, that's cool. Like, Apple does a really good job of creating content and making it in one place that's easily accessible. So, you know, unfortunately, what's actually being the product itself out there has been bad.
And then I mean, what also sucks is these Apple guys are really putting in are really trying to sell the product. Oh my God, decían que no les iba a importar a los jugadores, pero miren el juego que tenemos, and that's in every fucking game I've seen.
It's like the player will be picking his nose. He'll be like, "Look at that passion! Look at that drive!" It's like, dude, this dude's literally scratching his nalgas.
Le va a importar.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been a failure. I didn't know Joel said it hasn't, but even like from like on this side as well, like here in like St. Louis, like a lot of the fans are like, actually it would be kind of cool if like we lose so we can focus like on the MLS and the playoffs. Like it's kind of cool, like to play this tournament, but why are we doing it in the middle? Like even MLS fans
Exactly.
are
Yeah.
questioning it. But
Yeah.
the tomorrow it's gonna be like sold out. Why? Because at the same time they're saying Club America's coming here is like one of the top 100 teams in the world. They're like one of the most like uh, teams in Mexico, most decorated teams in Mexico. So that's pretty cool. So it'll be real competition. But at the same reason, it goes back to my point. That stadium is going to be packed because it's just for entertainment. There's no like if STL loses to America, it's not like holy shit, lost to America, we're eliminated from Leagues Cup. No, it's just entertainment. Like they could care less about it. And then if you would have hosted this tournament in Mexico, like let's say you would have like switched flip cards, I guarantee you the reaction wouldn't have been the same. I guarantee you, like, outside like maybe facing like Messi's team or stuff like that. I guarantee you, like, if Monterrey had to play Real Salt Lake and Monterrey, stadium probably wouldn't be packed like that.
Well,
Same
it would
thing.
have
If
been.
Chivas had to play Cincinnati and then Lacron, you probably get what 10, 15,000 people, if at all.
Well, it would have been like La Libertadores, unless it was like a top Argentine team or a top Brazilian teams. Most of the games were empty. I don't know if you guys remember one time TV Azteca, they went to they took one of their models to a game in Azteca, which Libertadores was empty, and they just had her parading around or hardly with any clothes, just to to push the fact that nobody was in the stadium.
Nice. Hey, but Habibi, you just said that it wouldn't be like MLS isn't exactly filling up the stadiums with these games, man.
No, it's
they're not filling up the stadiums,
That Atlas game
like
was cracking up.
Juarez or like, Mazatlan. But like, when they do play like one of the top teams, like tomorrow, for example, that St. Louis stadium is going to be packed. It's going to be sold out. But why? Because you're bringing in a team like America. Same thing like with the teams like you bring in a Chivas or like whatever.
How's their normal
They're gonna be packed.
attendance, like just regular MLS season?
Sold out every weekend also.
Oh, damn. Well, I mean, they're a new club, right?
But it's Cincinnati. There's nothing to do there in the summer except for go to Reds games.
I'm just saying it makes more sense to host it here. Besides the money point, I feel like you're more likely to get more fans that just want entertainment, something to do, as opposed to where in Mexico seem like that's not real competition. I'm not gonna go watch that. That's that's a joke. And to them, is not entertainment. To them, is like they want competition, and they don't see competition versus MLS. If anything, MLS is below.
It's hard to pack a stadium midweek in Mexico unless it's like Liguilla, but for the most part, when they have a double jornada, those matches aren't sold out in the middle.
No, practically empty. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with the big boys, Chivas and America, having their Leagues Cup debut. I'll leave you guys with your closing thoughts before we wrap up this episode. Whoever wants to go first, doesn't have to be about today's discussion, could be anything that's on your chest.
Is my microphone still bad?
It sounds better now.
All right. I think this is like the initial tournament. It's meant, it serves its purpose, and it's to hype it up. And I know it's one-sided, but that's sort of like I think how they're going to achieve it. Now I know it's not fair, but that's part of it. Again, if you just had Liga MX team squash MLS, and all interest will be lost. So you do need these MLS teams to win some of the games. And as you guys said, you could tell it's set up to have at least Messi in the final. And so I do think that eventually it will. I mean, it has the potential to be more exciting. So I wouldn't call it like a complete failure or total failure. I think we'll see in the final, though. We'll see in the final, and leading up to the final, if it continues to get attention, or if people are just gonna tune out and not really care.
I'm gonna call it right now. They're definitely at the end of the tournament. They're definitely gonna pad up those stats. Be like thank you guys for all your support. We had over like 1 million, people show up to attendance. Like I know they're gonna like blow up the numbers and shit to make it sound like it was better than it actually was. But yeah, who else wants to go? I
Uh, I'll go. I mean, I think so far the tournament has just been uncompelling trash. I don't maybe once you get the excitement of the knockout stage, maybe it'll change. But I think in the future they really rethink this strategy of having all the 48 teams involved. It's too much. You need to trim some fat. At least make it a 16 team tournament, and have some sort of qualifying process. But this is just and when you really look at it, what incentive does Chivas and America have? They're already qualified to the Conca Champions.
That's true.
I mean, what's in it for them?
I think
Another trophy,
probably
a trophy that earned.
probably just
the-
the prize money.
Maybe, but maybe Chivas could use some of that money, for refuerzos, but
Yeah, I mean, it's the prize money, but you're also grow your brand. All the attention's on Messi in Miami. You come up against them in the final, you beat them. Not a lot of people know who you are. They
Yeah,
might not buy your
yeah.
products, but at least like you're getting your name out there. It might mean something. You might make some Mexican fans Chivas America fan all of a sudden.
And you might sell a player or two. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but then all the people that are watching Messi will tune out as soon as he gets subbed off. So, yeah, I would like to see like the stats of like how much viewership dropped after he got subbed off the other day against Atlanta. I want to see that data. I know it's out there. Habibi and Ricardo, I would like to see a wager between you. I mean, we're talking about a real matchup tomorrow between America and St. Louis.
I'll send you a screenshot of my DraftKings account. I already put money on America. So
Ooh, betting against his home team.
no, that's not. Hey, I'm a Chivas fan. I just go for the entertainment. It's give me something to do on Saturday nights. I see it as entertainment. But if the team loses, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. My real thoughts is on Chivas and then Madrid in second. Outside of that, I could care less, man. But no, I think America wins. I mean, the talent that America has with Kevin Alvarez, the midfielders, the strikers. I just don't see any way St. Louis can compete, or for that matter of fact, the majority of MLS teams. I think that's why Monterrey, Tigres, America are powerhouses, and also Chivas. Chivas is in really good form right now. I think Chivas is going to spank Cincinnati tomorrow, and Cincinnati is like number one in MLS, and I think Chivas is going to demonstrate that.
We'll see if the ring rust gets to Chivas because they've been on hiatus since their victory, and it's been more than a week. So I know when you're playing really well, like Chivas have, and have a great start to the season, then having to put that on pause, you lose rhythm, you lose form. So hopefully they stay hungry out there tomorrow. As far as America, too big to fail, right? Like they seem like it's expected for them to win tomorrow, but I can see this blowing up in America's face because, like Ricardo mentioned, they're not taking it very serious, but I'll let him speak for himself.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Anytime you guys big up America, it just makes me blush, man. I'm over here enjoying it. No, but honestly, I'm serious, man. I don't care about this shit. That trophy is the ugliest trophy I've ever seen. It looks like the punch bowl from my prom, man. Except in this one, someone took a shit in it. That's what it looks like. Like I honestly don't care about this tournament, but I did want to talk about two other points with you guys regarding life in general, man. Or in this case, it's sports. Because Jaime, you mentioned that the De La Hoya documentary.
Oh yeah,
I only seen the first part, but I know. I guess I know what to expect for the second part. But I think Albert was commentating on Twitter about this, about when De La Hoya beat Chavez.
mm-hmm.
It was very crazy, and it kind of you could kind of like compare this to Mexican football also, because the way his dad like pretty much diminished his son's accomplishment, and his own, even in the documentary, his own dad called Oscar. He's like, "Oh, es un pocho que like we made it. Mi hijo es un pocho," like pretty much degrading his son, like in the documentary. And like when he beat Chavez the second time, he pretty much told him like, "Oh, if Chavez was in his prime, he he would have beat my son up."
Oh
Like
yeah.
who says that? Like that's some crazy shit a year, man. Like yeah, maybe it'll be true. Like, but no one has a time machine to like compare to like test that theory out.
He wouldn't give his own son his flowers, bro. It was
Yeah,
pretty brutal to watch.
yeah, that's crazy to see. I was watching that with my brother. My brother's a De La Hoya fan. I was like, that's some crazy shit to see, because
And
and like in front of the whole world, just making your son look like shit. Like,
He wasn't close to his dad.
no, I don't think he was.
you got to watch the doc. It's good.
Yeah.
Another thing too, it was like a mixed, you know, mixed feeling for fans, because you had the old guard, right? Everyone considers Julio Cesar Chavez like a legend in the Mexican, you know, and then now you have this Mexican American, and like, no, you got to root for like the OG. And when Oscar beat him, they still said, "Oh, he's not Mexican enough," you know.
Yeah.
And that,
When he not only beat him, he had been going through a couple of like the Mexican greats. I know a lot of them were already,
Baez.
yeah, Maromero Paez, couple dudes that were kind of past their prime or just,
El Yori boy.
yeah. And then when finally,
Honestly, the only Mexican sort of Mexican beat was Paez, because he beat Ruelas, but Ruelas was he was born in Mexico, but he was over here. But it's funny that you say that what's his relationship with his dad. In the documentary, the dad says if my son at 24-year-old would have faced Chavez at 24, Chavez would have beat him.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can tell the type of relationship they had.
And the way he pretty much just admitted that his mother just would hit him, like his mother would treat him worse than his own father. Like,
Yeah.
Or just fuck him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
She fucked him up after he got ran over. You know,
Yeah.
every day, I
Damn.
can relate to it. I can relate to it. You fuck up and your dad, ándale por pendejo.
Yeah.
and he built a hospital like in
For
your name.
Your Honor.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I mean, just watch it, man. It's a great doc. I just saw
Say
the
why he was wearing. Those
Yeah, it
stocking-
talks about all that stuff, dude. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but just watch it.
One final point, Jaime, I wanted
ahead.
to talk about. If I don't hear back from you guys, it was a pleasure talking to all of you.
Ay, wey.
With all these,
Area 51.
with the aliens being exposed, I just hope it's the Mac and Me or ET aliens, and not the Attack from Mars aliens or alien, man.
I'll take the Navigator. I don't know if you guys seen that.
No, I haven't seen that one. Because when they were talking about this, my uncle told me an old story, because he grew up in TJ. Like he grew up away from my main family, and he told me he was drunk, obviously, fucking todo borracho, crazy, not making any sense when he told me. But he told me when he was drunk. You guys ever seen that movie? What's it called? With Cheech Marin, when he's in TJ. Born in East LA.
Born in East LA.
That bar. You know that was a real
Rudy
bar.
y
Right?
los Gordos Rancheros.
Yeah. He said he was coming from that area, and he was drunk as fuck, and he just laid like he was going away from the city, and he ended up like in desert, not desert. I mean like emptiness. And he was drunk as fuck, and he put his head up, and he said he swore he saw an alien, and he had a zapper.
He ended up in el Valle de Guadalupe.
He was probably like on crack or drinking that, because he did some crazy shit, but I don't know, man. Now it all kind of makes sense. I believe him now.
Yeah, for sure. As far as closing thoughts for me, man, again, not really happy that they disrupted Liga MX action for this at least so far. You know, hopefully tomorrow we'll see America's debut and Chivas debut and put things back in its course. But as of right now, it's been really tough to watch, and especially trying to create a rivalry out of something that's not even prestigious yet. But you know, this is a start. And as far as unfortunately Lopez is not here tonight, but I wanted to call him out on his bullshit. He said Chucky Lozano to LFC was a done deal, and it ended up not being true. Thank God, because we want Chucky to stay out in Europe or come to Chivas, but don't go to LA. And I think that's all I got for you guys. I'll be covering the Leagues Cup Leagues Cup match between San Jose and Tigres over here at PayPal Stadium. And I'll be uploading photos, so stay tuned for that. Want to thank y'all for hopping on tonight. And with that, be safe. You know, if you get abducted by aliens and we don't hear from you, it's been a pleasure, boys. Take care.